Hello, everyone, and welcome to the District 1 Toastmasters DCP Distinguished Club Program Mastermind webinar. District 1, where together we can. We're so excited today to have you all here for our next series, which is Leadership and Entrepreneurship, the road to the district conference coming up on May 20th, our spring conference. Thank you all for being here this evening, whether some of you are on the phone and some of you are connected via the web. Thank you for being here, and the next 30 minutes will be very rewarding for you. Quickly, who is on the call? Well, my name is Julie Brody. I am your District Program Quality Director, and I am joined by the fabulous Distinguished Club Program Chairperson for our district, Advanced Communicator Bronze, Advanced Leader Bronze, Carla Taravella. Hi, Carla.
Hi, Julie. Hi, everyone. Thanks for calling in. Woohoo! Calling in. What's it on?
Hello.
Awesome. So if you've been getting emails a couple of times a month, Carla is the one that has been getting you
Yes, I'm that annoying person.
So with that, we're going to do a couple of housekeeping items. Carla, would you let our participants know kind of logistics for this call?
Absolutely. Our phone call is going to last about a half hour this evening. And what I ask all of you to do is once we start the main portion of our talk, we're going to ask you all to mute yourselves. If you're calling on a phone, please mute yourself so we can all hear our keynote speaker. After that, we're going to take some questions. Now, you will see, if you're looking on the computer, there's a little chat box. Please be sure to type your questions in there, and when time permits, we will have our keynote speaker answer your questions. And after that, we have a few general announcements, and then you're ready for the rest of your Monday night.
Awesome. Very, very cool. Thank you, Carla. So with that, I'm going to give us a cool introduction. We've got our tonight's keynote speaker is Josephine Lee. She is the founder of the Point Shop, located down in Orange County, and a member of our very neighboring district, the Founders District. She has also just competed in the finals in 2016 for the World Championship of Public Speaking and took third overall. She is actually the highest ranking female speaker in the world right now. We're so thrilled. She is going to be our leadership breakfast keynote on May 20th at 7 a.m. It is definitely worth your time to come out and hear Josephine. Please, without further ado, let's give a round of applause if we can from wherever we are to Josephine Lee.
Oh, thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here, and I'm so excited to be speaking with our neighboring district. It's so cool. Well, I joined Toastmasters about 4 years ago after I graduated from college, and I was a communication major. And this is what I learned for the past 4 years. And when I graduated from USC, I went into business, and I wanted to continue my education in communication. And I Googled Toastmasters, and that's how I found it. Well, no offense to USC, but I am sure that I got more practical experience in Toastmasters than I did in my 4 years in college. And I thought it was an amazing journey to see the progression of my own speaking style and being able to transition into business with all of the skills that I've learned in Toastmasters. And the story that I want to share with you today is the most practical experience that I got from prepared speeches and table topics that I had for my business. So last year, I was invited to be part of a reality television show, which is kind of crazy. So if you're familiar with Shark Tank and if you're familiar with Project Runway, it was a mix of the two. So the producers of Project Runway started a television show like Shark Tank. So it was basically Shark Tank for the fashion industry. And what was awesome about that is that I was not in fashion at all. I sell ballet shoes. And somehow they believed that I was in the fashion industry, so they invited me to be on the show. And I went through 6 rounds of interviews to be on the television show. And it was applications and video submissions and turning in financials, and there was a lot of interviews going into the process. And for me, I had the advantage of being more articulate and more polished because I had the practice in Toastmasters. So I breezed through the audition process, and I was invited to New York along with 29 other entrepreneurs. And the 29 of us, we got to pitch our business in front of 4 investors, and they were going to either give us a yes, we are going to give you a deal, no, we're not going to give you a deal, or maybe if you show us more. And in this setting, you actually want a maybe, because if you get a yes or a no, then you are off the show after that. Say yes or no, thank you very much, you're off the show. But if you get a maybe, you get more airtime. So I wanted the maybe because I wanted more PR. And that's exactly what I got, because nobody really understood what I did, which is fit ballet shoes for a living. So they gave us a maybe, and I went on the road to show the investors exactly what I did. And I thought Toastmasters was an incredible place to practice for pitching to investors, because it was like having a prepared speech in front of investors. And then after you give your pitch, they ask you a ton of questions about your finances, of how your business works, and they're just drilling you with questions. And I think I was probably the most polished because I had so many years of practicing in table topics to be prepared for any kind of question. And what the moral of the story was that, I wasn't the best business on the show. I didn't have the most original product. I didn't have the most original concept. I didn't even have a project that I created on my own, where basically we created a curriculum to fit shoes that are in existence. And we were the only business on the show that received investment from all 4 investors. And towards the end of the show, they actually started to bid against each other to get our partnership. And I thought that was an incredible testament to the confidence that Toastmasters has given me, and how practical it is to tie it into the business world. And I thought that was an amazing experience. And the producers could have cut up and edited my segment any way they wanted to, but because I didn't give them any question of how well I was able to present, they really showed me in a really good light, and I thought that was really awesome. And that was my Toastmasters story of how it directly related into business. But other than that, I use Toastmasters in my everyday life, and you'll hear in our leadership breakfast about how Toastmasters has really helped me in leadership as well. And I think that was the part of Toastmasters I didn't really anticipate, because we all believe that Toastmasters is a public speaking organization. We learn communication skills, but we don't really think about leadership too much, except for those who are in leadership positions. And I gained very practical insight into business. And I use so many things in my business that I learned from Toastmasters. Yeah, so that's my story.
Oh, it's amazing. Thank you so much, Josephine, for giving us a really good insight into your success and how Toastmasters has brought you there. And from an entrepreneur standpoint, which I think is a lot of people in our district, I think, are interested in the entrepreneur side aspects of being a leader as well. So again, we want to remind everyone that was like a little bit of a taste of what Josephine will be discussing on May 20th at 7 a.m. at the spring conference. If you haven't had a chance to register, please make sure you do so this week before the early bird deadline has expired. We're going to now, I'm going to turn it over to Carla to moderate for Q&A. Are you there, Carla? Oh, hold on. Hi, there you are. Are you there, Carla?
I am here. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Josephine? If so, you can type if you're near a computer, not on the phone, you can type in your questions, or is anyone on the phone? Do they have any questions for Josephine? Well, I have a question.
Sure.
Josephine, I can't believe the reality television show junkie that I am that I've missed this show. What is the name of this show?
It's called It's called Project Runway Fashion Startup. So it was the same producers of Project Runway, and then they basically created a Shark Tank version for the fashion industry.
How fun is that? Do you know if it's on Hulu or Netflix, or what happened to the show?
Hulu.
Okay.
It was on
Lifeline. Okay.
Okay. It was on the same. Yeah, it was on the same line as Project Runway. So it premiered right after Project Runway.
Oh, that's perfect. That sounds like a lot of fun. I wonder if I could still find it. Or if I could still find it. I can't believe I missed it. Oh, Julie typed it for everyone. Project Runway Fashion Startup. Does anyone else have any questions?
Here's one.
Josephine, I have a question. This is Janelle from Talk Nation.
Hi.
Not really related to Toastmasters, but I'm curious. I was familiar with the point shop because my daughter is actually a dancer. She's currently in her second year at Boston Conservatory.
Wow.
Yeah, I know point shoes. I've purchased many. I'm just curious. What caused you to get into what made you open up the point shop?
Several different reasons, but one of the main reasons was that when I was younger, around when I was getting my first pair of point shoes, they didn't really have a lot of sizes, or there wasn't a lot of professional fitters that were available, and there weren't a lot of shoe sizes, and I actually have a very difficult foot to fit. So I was fitted wrong for about 3 years, and I ended up with bruised toenails. I couldn't stand it. Everything was too short. Everything was too wide. Nothing was the correct shape. It was excruciatingly painful. I didn't have toenails for like 2 years. And eventually I quit because it was terrifying. It was terrible. And when I started to understand point shoes, I realized that there was such an ease to all of my suffering. And when I started to fit dancers, and I'm sure you know, Janelle, that the ballet culture is a suck it up culture. It's you don't complain, you don't cry about it, you don't say anything is painful, you just work through it, right? So you're kind of a wuss if you. But a lot of dancers, they suffer quietly and then they end up quitting later on because they're in too much pain. And I got to meet some of the dancers that were having the same problems, and dancers started to, drive in 2-3 hours to get fitted for point shoes because they're with their shoes. And that's how I started the point business. But before that, I had a dance retail store. So I had a full retail stores. I'm sure you're familiar with leotards and tutus and jazz shoes, tap shoes, all sales exceeded half of our sales. I decided that this is the direction that we needed to go. And in 2 years ago, I decided to get rid of just focus on the point shoe part of it.
Awesome.
Yeah, Boston Conservatory, that's a pretty amazing program. Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm very proud. It is one of the top contemporary dance programs in the country.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is this Merle?
Yes, it is Merle.
I knew that voice. Merle, ask away.
Ask away. So I want to know, are you active in Toastmasters now?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It's one of those things that I don't think I'll ever stop going to. I'm very committed to Toastmasters, and You know, I am a fan. I'm a super fan of Toastmasters. I believe in the organization and everything that it does for people. I believe in the community. I believe in, I really believe in this organization. I don't think I'll ever quit. And a lot of people think that the World Championship is an end goal, but for me, it was never an end goal. For me, it was just a fun thing that I could do along with Toastmasters, but I will never leave this organization.
Well, it's good. We want you here.
Thank you.
Josephine, we have two questions actually from our chat board. First one, it's from John Dean Jr. and Kathy Dean. And their question is, Josephine, thank you for your presentation tonight. Have you used your experience as a speech in your local club?
This particular speech for this particular experience with with the television show? Is that what you're referring to? Yes.
Yeah.
No, I haven't. That was the first time I've actually said that out loud.
Well, now you have fodder for your next speech.
Exactly. There you go.
You learned something with us too.
That's
And
right.
Amy Kung has two questions. Number one, what was the best lesson you learned from the 2016 World Championship of Public Speaking? And her second question, what was the best leadership lesson you learned from Toastmasters in terms of your business?
Those are great questions. The best lesson I learned from, there's so many lessons I learned from the World Championship, honestly. It was such an incredible experience, partly because I never, ever, ever expected to even get past district. I think there's a photo of me from winning district last year where my face says it all. It was just like jaw on the floor. Like I had no, when they called third place, I said, oh, that's okay. I didn't place. That's fine. And then when they placed, I was floored. So everything was such a surprise, and it was such an incredible experience. And I think because I didn't have any expectations on moving on with the championship, it was so much fun. And I think what I see in this competition is that people get so wrapped up in winning. Oh my gosh, there are people that have been competing for 20 years just trying to get to the World Championship. And because I had no expectations, I was just time. There were videos of us just hanging out, and I got very close. We're still really good friends, and they're in each other's districts, and it was just such a blast. And I think the greatest lesson that I learned from the World Championship is that you need to enjoy the journey. You have to, because if I was so focused on trying to win this thing, the experience would have been completely dampened. It would not have been the same, and I would never give away this experience for anything. And I could never replicate this again. The friendships that I've formed and the experiences that I've had, and I'm just so thankful that I didn't have any expectations, because this was better than winning. The whole experience. And yeah, and the best leadership lesson I learned from Toastmasters, you know, there is a culture in Toastmasters that is so strong that it permeates through every culture, through every religion, every political view, everything. Because I was fortunate enough to be invited to go to several other countries to speak in their district. And this culture of being a servant leader is so strong that it is apparent in every country. And that's something that I have taken to heart and taken into my business as well, being a servant leader. And I want to always make sure that I am behind my employees, I am behind, and I'm always in the attitude of serving rather than serving others rather than serving myself. And that's the greatest lesson I learned from Toastmasters.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It's so true. I so believe in it.
I'm curious, what countries did you speak at?
I went to
Speak in,
Russia.
I should say.
Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah, so Russia was actually, so they're not a district yet, but what's really amazing about is that they're so vibrant because they're such a young area. I don't think Toastmasters has, and what's cool is that one of the clubs, it's called, I can't remember the exact name, of freedom speakers or something, because freedom of speech was not always available, and that they value and they cherish, because this is a very recent phenomenon that they have the ability to give free speech. So I thought that was an amazing thing to see, and the camaraderie in Russia is incredible. Everybody hangs out with each other, the entire area. Their conference was from 8 a.m. So I gave the first keynote and then I gave the presentation in the afternoon. But attended the entire time. You know how when we do our district conference, we go to the meeting and then we leave, or we're just there for the competition and then we leave. But in Russia, everybody stayed the entire day, and then everybody went out. But it was like a 15, 16-hour day, and everybody just stuck around because it's just what they did. So I thought that was really cool that they had this really strong bond. And also, I didn't go there for Toastmasters, but I met Toastmasters in China this year, and I was invited to 3 countries in the Middle East. So I was at Oman, Bahrain, and Qatar. Incredibly special, and I was so honored because they have ever invited to speak for their district.
I have a question. This is Annette from Life Stages. I have a question. What was your most memorable speech and why?
My most memorable. It has to be either my semifinal or my final speech, because I practiced it so many times. I practiced the speech more than those 2 in my life. I was doing it when I was driving, and it was just through 2 speeches for 6 months before I gave that presentation. 2 would have been my most memorable speech. The semifinal speech, I don't know if you're familiar with my semifinal speech, but it was called Let It Go. And it was about letting go of expectations and fears. And my final speech was about friendship. And that was a very therapeutic speech for me, because it was all true. It was a very true story. And I did have a friend that I lost and got back. So it was that was a very therapeutic speech for me.
Oh, okay.
Josephine, we have a question in the chat room.
Sure.
And this is from John and Kathy Dean. Have you thought of starting a Toastmaster club in your company, or do you already have one?
Not thought of starting a Toastmasters club in my company, only because we are very spread out. So I'm in San Diego, 2 fitters, including me in Orange County, 1 in Los Angeles, and 1 in Central California. So we're all just, and they are all, I think they would be fabulous, actually, because I hire ballet dancers, and they have a natural stage presence. So I think that would be really cool. So maybe someday, but because our regions are so far apart, it'll be a little bit difficult to get together. And I really enjoy in a group, like physically being in a room together with people. So maybe in the future, but not yet.
That sounds great. Do we have any last questions?
Nope.
final questions. Well, Josephine, thank you so much for answering all these questions. And I know I am so personally looking forward to seeing you at our conference. And I'm so happy that you were able to speak with us today.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm so excited. I'm so excited I have to go on a plane to come see you guys. Very, very.
You'll see us bright and early that morning as well.
That's right. So early. So early. Actually,
Thank
my
you.
meetings are at 7 a.m., so this is no big deal to me.
Uh-huh. It's a big deal to me.
We
Well,
will have coffee.
this is Julie. I'm going to come right back on. I just want to thank you personally, Josephine, for sharing your expertise with us, and let everyone who's actually dialed in on their phones, as well as those in our World Wide Web audience that are on this webinar, know that you can connect with Josephine at hello@josephineYlee.com. And she would be happy to follow back up with you. We're so excited, and we can't wait to hear you again at the Leadership Breakfast, May 20th. If anyone needs more information on how to register or to get to Josephine, please visit our District 1 website. So it's www.district1Toastmasters.org. We cannot wait. I'm so excited. 12 more days. Carly, you want to tell us more about what else are we doing for these Mastermind series?
Absolutely. We have 2 mastermind webinars each month, the second Monday and the fourth Wednesday. If your club meets on a Monday, you're probably not listening to us today. But you could come in on the fourth Wednesday of the month, and vice versa. We try and have 2 presentations each month so we can reach everyone in District 1. And our next webinar will be on Wednesday, May 24th, and then we have our final 2 for the Toastmaster year on Monday, June 12th, and Wednesday, June 28th. Same place, same time. Please come and join us again.
Bye.
Bye, fabulous. Thank you.
If you
Oh,
guys have
and just a
questions,
reminder,
yeah.
if you have any questions, if you need help getting to your DCP goals, please don't hesitate to send us an email at district1dcp@gmail.com. And as always, visit our website often at district1toastmasters.org. Thank you all for calling in tonight.
Thank you, Josephine.
Thank you.
Bye all.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks.
Good night.
See you on the 12th.